Fox 5 News at 10 starts right now.
A family left devastated and searching for answers after a 15-year-old was found shot to death in a stranger's front yard.
Keontae Ross was a student at North Clayton High School. His body discovered by a neighbor this afternoon in Clayton County.
Fox 5's George Franco joining us now live at the County Police Department. George, what are family members saying tonight?
Well, Tom and Nathalie, the family of Keontae Ross, who they call Jeremiah, tell me they are heartbroken and devastated by the news of his murder. Clayton County Police say this is an ongoing investigation to find the killer of this teenager.
This is him. This is on Christmas Day. Anybody know anything, please contact the police so we can put closure to this.
It was a holiday picture, which is now the last image the family has of Keontae Ross.
His mom, she was texting him this morning. She didn't get any response, so she kind of got worried. And then later on this morning, the police came to her house and told her that they had found him deceased.
Clayton County Police say the 15-year-old was found shot to death in the front yard of a home in unincorporated College Park on Kristen Cove around 8:15 this morning. They didn't say how many times he'd been shot or what, if anything, they knew of the circumstances surrounding his murder.
No, it's not his residence. It was a neighborhood within about a mile of an apartment complex that he lived on, Riverdale Road.
Deputy Chief Joseph Woodall says Keontae Ross was found face down on the lawn, already dead when paramedics arrived.
Despite what he may or may not have been doing at that location, 15-year-old's lost his life, and it brings concern to us all.
Yesterday night, he just told me he was going out. I was like, okay.
What time was that?
Probably like 7, 8-ish.
Keontae Ross's older brother says the next he heard was news of the murder, which brought them to the crime scene. The family, we're told, had recently moved to the area from Stockbridge. He told me his younger brother, who was known as Jeremiah, his middle name, was a freshman at North Clayton High School.
He was a loner. He would go out by himself. So, I mean, if he was going to hang with friends, he was a good kid.
Clayton County Police also say they got help from the Clayton County School District Police in identifying Keontae Jeremiah Ross as the victim. They're asking anyone with any information on this case to give their department a call. Well, of course, we'll stay on the story and bring you any updates, all new on Fox 5 News Edge at 11 o'clock. But for now, at Clayton County Police Headquarters, I'm George Franco, Fox 5 News.
All right, George, we'll see you tonight at 11. Thanks. A man is behind bars at the Fulton County Jail tonight, accused in the death of another Atlanta man. William Bradley was transported to the jail last week and charged with murder. Investigators tell us it happened October the 3rd at 1080 Peachtree Street in Northeast Midtown. Officers were checking Brian Campbell's condo after he'd been reported missing. Police say they found Campbell's body wrapped in plastic bags in the closet. According to officials, Campbell had gunshot wounds to his face.
All right, Tom, well, now on to a story you will only see on Fox 5. A 7-year-old boy is recovering tonight at an Atlanta hospital after his family says he was mauled by 2 dogs on Christmas Eve. The young boy has more than 300 stitches on his body and lost one of his ears. The family tells me they are just grateful their son is alive.
And I heard him scream, and, you know, Mom knows that scream.
This is 7-year-old Ethan Fain, his parents reliving the terrifying moments from Christmas Eve.
They said if it would have been just 1 inch more, that it would have hit the main artery and he would have bled out in the neighbor's yard.
Ethan's parents say he was doing what any boy his age would do, playing in his grandmother's backyard in Gwinnett County, swinging on this tree when the neighbor's 2 dogs grabbed him by his coat. According to Gwinnett County Animal Control, the dogs were pit bulls.
He was up on that limb swinging, and when he come on the backstroke, you can see the tears in the back of his jacket where I guess it hopped up on the fence and grabbed him.
His parents rushed out.
And then I saw the dogs huddled up. 2 of them were huddled up, and I saw where my little boy was.
I didn't even think about it. I just ran. I jumped over the fence.
Ethan was rushed to Children's Healthcare of Atlanta at Eggleston. He has more than 300 stitches on his body. The doctors were able to sew on one ear, but he lost the other.
I had to find my child's ear. I knew without that there basically wasn't any hope of my little boy looking the same that he ever did.
His father was able to find it, and doctors hope to reattach it, but little Ethan faces months of rehab and 2 years' worth of major reconstructive surgeries. The family says the medical bills are mounting and are grateful for those who have helped and prayed for their son, who doctors say could have died.
It's my little Christmas miracle.
Said, but that child had a guardian angel looking over him in that backyard.
And Gwinnett County Police tell me the 2 pit bulls have been put down. The dog's owners received 2 citations for public nuisance attacks without provocation and duty to be responsible owner. We have put information on our website, fox5atlanta.com, on how you can help this family.
It's so troubling for that family and that little boy.
Absolutely, Tom. Well, Atlanta police say a would-be carjacker picked the wrong driver to target. Investigators say he tried to steal a car in Midtown and instead got a bullet to his abdomen.
Witnesses saw the event unfolding at the corner of Spring and 17th Streets this morning. The driver of a Hummer tried to get into a Porsche, but the passenger in the car would have none of it. Officer Donald Hanna with Atlanta Police explains the scene when police arrived.
As he was tussling with the driver of the Porsche, officers approached him, and then the officer tased him almost simultaneously as he was being shot.
Police say the carjacker got into 8 hit-and-run accidents in Buckhead just minutes before the attempted carjacking. He was arrested and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
And emergency at an emergency preparedness business in Cobb County. Marietta police say at least 3 thieves rammed a pickup truck into the side of True Prep on Cobb Parkway this morning. The criminals then stormed the store, taking off with emergency supplies, tactical gear, and survival equipment.
We believe that 3 people were outside of the business wearing all dark clothing with white masks. Several other people entered the store. At this point in time, we don't have a number on how many. They did not get any firearms. However, they did get parts of firearms from inside of the store.
Detectives think there was a second car on scene used as a getaway car. The owner says the thieves were inside less than 5 minutes.
Well, it's been confirmed an EF1 tornado touching down in Jackson County last night. The storm-packed winds of 105 miles an hour, leaving tree branches littering the roadways. You can see the damage the twister caused there, knocking down power lines, causing outages across the area. One homeowner telling us that the wind was so strong it sent his trampoline flying into the air and crashing into some power lines. Crews spent most of the morning assessing the damage. Well, those storms have moved out and much cooler weather has moved in.
And it is windy out there as well. We're going to send things over now to Fox 5 meteorologist Rich Johnson. Hey, Rich.
Hi, Natalie. Hey, Tom. How y'all doing? And we are looking at the winds finally calming down. We have some of these winds becoming a little weaker now that it's the evening hours, 15 to 25 miles an hour. We're looking at the temperatures too into the mid 40s. And what is going on is that the cold front is really blasted on by. Dew point now 15. And when we tell you about the dew points, that's again, measure the humidity in the atmosphere. 15 is very low. Low temperature today, 46. That's where we're at right now. Radar satellite imagery showing fair skies across the area. The cold front has actually made its way well to the south up across North Georgia. We're now looking at fair skies. Wind advisory out still until 1 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. We have these gusts above 1,500 feet, sometimes all the way up to around 45 miles per hour. Here's our forecast through this evening. Winds still blowing out of the northwest. Again, some of those gusts overnight, maybe around 20 miles an hour, possibly up to 25. Tonight's forecast right near freezing. Tomorrow we should be up near 50 degrees. And coming up at the bottom of the hour, I'll have a look at your New Year's Eve forecast.
Sounds great, Rich. Thanks. The Obama administration announcing sanctions against Russia for allegedly hacking the U.S. presidential campaign. Among them, giving the boot to 35 Russian operatives. The U.S. says Russia must bear costs for its actions. The Obama administration making good on its vow to retaliate against Russia for hacking, issuing a set of 9 different sanctions. Secretary has designated 2 Russian individuals for using cyber-enabled means. 35 Russian operatives have been ordered to leave the country. 2 diplomatic compounds related to Russian intelligence gathering are being closed, one in Maryland and one in New York. They'll be shuttered at noon on Friday. And the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI are releasing declassified technology information on Russian civilized and military intelligence. In a statement, President Obama saying, quote, "These actions follow repeated private and public warnings that we've issued to the Russian government and are a necessary and appropriate response to efforts to harm the U.S. interests."
I'm not going to be a very strong, a big move publicly. There's some PR here, so sort of a slap on the wrist. I guess better than nothing, but not exactly tough stuff.
I think it's fair to say that this is, in fact, an escalation. And yes, if you ask me, I do believe that there is room to do more and that we should be doing more.
The Russian Foreign Ministry reacting to the sanctions, calling them counterproductive, adding they'll harm restoration of ties between Russia and the U.S. President Obama says his administration will provide a report to Congress in the coming days about Russia's, quote, efforts to interfere in our election.
A ceasefire brokered by Russia and Turkey is now in effect in war-ravaged Syria. It began just a few hours ago, and if it holds, the truce between the Syrian government and the country's mainstream rebel forces will be followed by peace talks next month in Kazakhstan. Mainstream rebel opposition signed on, but it doesn't extend to groups deemed to have terroristic ties to Islamic State and al-Qaeda. The head of a human rights group says government forces were bombing several areas right before the truce took effect.
A police officer pulls into a gas station for fuel and then moments later finds a man murdered at the pump. Tonight we have new information about the victim and the man investigators are searching for.
And an officer targeted at a different gas station. Why investigators think one customer was intentionally putting one of their own in danger.
And a robbery leads to a chase and shots fired at local police. How officers say they knew a crew of serial robbers.
And from baby photos to a lifetime of memories misplaced but not forgotten. Coming up, we'll hear from a local woman who is doing everything in her power to track down the rightful owner.
With the most